Welcome to True Print for Life. I'm your host, Christina Vera.
And I'm your co-host, Maylin Sambois.
Welcome back for another exciting episode. We are excited to have a guest speaker with us today. We have Miss Coco in the building.
Hi.
I feel like we need like, whoa, whoa. We need like some sound effects or something.
Hey, y'all, hey.
I mean, to know Coco is to experience Coco. She is a event hairstylist, makeup artist. I mean, she's the bomb. Like, I have very high expectations when it comes to hair.
Oh my gosh, she's very picky, guys.
Very picky. For those who really know me, it took me years to really find a Coco. And when I found her, I remember the first time I came to your chair.
Yeah.
And I think it was like either the first time.
Year.
Yeah, first or second time. And you were like, so I'm leaving. And I was like, what? I was like, where are you going? I thought she was moving out of state. And I was like, girl, don't do this to me. She's like, no, just to a different salon. I said, why didn't you just lead with that? Because, you know,
I'm so dramatic. I'm very dramatic.
Yeah, I was just like, what? So I have appreciated just getting to know you and your journey and just how passionate you are about the work that you do. Like, it's not like, I really feel like you're an artist and you really care about your clients. You are every time I go, she's like, what's up with you? And it's always an experience. And I think that that's something that in this day and age, when there's so many different people that, because oftentimes you hear people like, well, everybody's doing the same thing. Like, you know, how can I be different? And what if I'm not successful because there's so many realtors or there's so many hairstylists? And it's like, yeah, but if you are uniquely you and you're really into your craft
and you're good
at it, like you really invest your time, your energy into your clients, like you will always have business.
Absolutely.
And those are questions or thoughts that I always had in my head in the very beginning. Like, everybody's doing what I'm doing. Everybody's doing blowouts and everybody is doing wedding hairstyles and makeup. Like, what's going to stand me out? How am I going to be successful? But I just kept going. I try not to think about other people's walk and their journey. Mm-hmm. And I feel like by doing that, it just made me zone in on me and my business. And then eventually, like, I don't want to say I became a household name, but like I'm well known in the community. So I just feel like I had to put that out of my mind and just focus on like, okay, well, what am I going to do? And what you said, like, I guess just being me and just really caring about my clients and how the overall style turns out or the overall makeup turns out, like that's important to me. Like, I never want anybody to leave my chair unhappy ever. So I will go above and beyond to make sure that my client is happy.
Yeah.
And that could be anywhere from coming in early, staying a couple hours late.
Coming to the house.
Yes,
right.
I love that part, Jesus.
So, yeah, I think just me wanting to make sure that my clients are comfortable and secure in, because, I mean, it's an investment that you're giving to me too. You're investing your time and your money into me. So I better make sure that I'm the best.
Yeah.
And that's just how I feel.
I love that. And you're phenomenal. And I think one of the things that also like really appealed to us about you, not only just your ethic in business, is just to hear of all the things that you have gone through in terms of building your business. And I think just a couple of weeks ago, you were telling me just like when you first graduated from hair school, like you really wanted to find somebody that you could learn alongside.
Yeah, I went to hair school in Phoenix, Arizona. That's where I was born. I was raised here in Columbus. I went to Empire Beauty School, and it's off of Glendale Avenue. It's down the street from I was living with my dad at the time. And I was working at Subway, and I would walk or catch the bus to the hair school. And I did that for a year and graduated. And then after I graduated there, I was recruited, and I put quotes because I was recruited by a lady who was a manager at a chain salon that is well known in like Walmarts and stuff like that. When I got there, I realized that they weren't going to like teach me and mold me. I'm just now coming out of school, and like I saw that they would just want me to be on the floor. And one of the managers at that particular salon, they got a lot of African American or brown people to come in. And there was only Caucasian people that worked at that salon until I came as a front desk person. That was my training. I put quotes again. And I remember the day that I knew I didn't want to be there anymore. She was trying to do a relaxer on someone that A, didn't need one, and B, I was really concerned that she herself, the manager, didn't know how to do a relaxer anyway, and looked to me to do it. And I told her I was not going to do it, and I told the person in the chair, I was like, I don't think you should, because your hair is really fine. She was biracial. She had, my hair is coarse, but her hair was like looser curls than mine, and she didn't need it, bottom line. And so I left there, and then there was another lady who had kind of a similar situation that I'm doing, a concierge blowout situation, but she had too many hands in the pot, if that makes sense. And I and a friend of mine who was doing it with me in Phoenix, we decided not to be a part of her anymore. So after that, I was just working, and I got a call about my mom was sick, and she still lives in Columbus. It was just a family emergency to the point where, like, I pushed pause on my life in Phoenix and moved back here to deal with that. And I came here, and I knew in Phoenix I had seen Dry Bar, and I knew that they only did styling and they never did any colors or anything like that. And I kind of knew that that was the way that I wanted to go, because I was like really good at updos and like era type of hairdos, like the 50s. I love doing 50s hairdos and finger waves and stuff like that. But when I came out east, like I didn't see a Dry Bar anywhere. Well, I was working at Starbucks in Phoenix. I transferred my Starbucks to Columbus. I was there for 3 years. And so I transferred here. I didn't have a car. I was walking. I was busing it everywhere. And at Starbucks, you get 6 free therapy sessions. They care about your mental health. I love Starbucks.
I was gonna say, oh my God, you can make me a drink, but continue.
I know all the
secrets.
all the secrets and all those things. But yeah, so I went to a therapist that was in Grandview, and I was just walking down, I think that's Grandview Avenue, because that's 5th and then that's Grandview. So I was just walking down it, and if you don't walk past the blowout bar, then you don't really see it. So I saw that place, and I walked in and I applied, and like the next week I got the job. And I think that working there for 2.5, almost 3 years had really honed in my love of styling and updos and weddings and makeup. I still did color. I still tried to like do a lot of color and cuts and things, but I feel like that would be my niche of like what I like to do in the beauty industry.
Yeah.
And so I was there, and then COVID happened, and everybody had, time to themselves and try to figure out what they wanted to do with themselves, including myself. And during that time, I just realized like I'm really good at what I do, and I'm already doing clients outside of the salon, and I think that I should just step out and do my own thing. And I was really scared because I am a workaholic. I'm always working like either a job, 2 jobs, 3 jobs. It's just, I've never just like done a me thing. And I'm still working like a little job, but I started to really like put my foot forward and like do more. Finally this year, I LLC'd myself and EIN'd myself. And I actually just went and saw a financial advisor the other day. So somebody's going to take care of that portion for me, and I'll be an employee of Femme Beauty.
Wow.
So
Congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
huge. That's
So
exciting.
yeah, I'm just like a lot of steps. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm still trying to figure out all these things. I've done my own taxes before as a W-2 employee, but never as a 1099. So
it's a whole different thing.
I know.
Don't do it yourself.
And the IRS will pull up. Let me tell you. When I became officially a 1099, I was like, "Oh, it can't be that hard."
You're right.
And I'm on H&R Block, and they guided me all in the wrong way, and I got that big yellow envelope in the mail. And I remember I was sleeping. I was asleep, and my husband comes in the room. He's like, "We're being audited." Like he was like, I woke up and I was like, "What?" And he throws the envelopes on the bed, and there are these long envelopes, and I was like, "What is that?" And he was like, "It's from the IRS." And I was like, H&R Block. And luckily, we got the insurance for H&R Block because that 1099 is a whole different thing.
It's so weird. Like, I'm not saying like I would ever do anything wrong or whatever, but like I didn't think that the IRS would find a way to get at the little people.
You would think that, but no, they love us because I mean, luckily it was a minor, like it was genuinely just an error. Like we didn't know, and after that, I never did my own taxes. Like, I have a person now, and she's phenomenal.
The best.
But it's to your point. There's so many things that you are learning kind of on the go as an entrepreneur, and like so many years that you were kind of navigating this space of being in the business, but not necessarily having like your LLC, your EIN. Now you're meeting with a financial, advisor person. So it's taking it one day at a time. And hearing your journey, I guess it's, what kind of pushed you to kind of position yourself now in this place of like, no, I want to have this as a full business, my full entity.
That's a good question. So I probably, like most people, I'm driven by money. I didn't grow up with money. We weren't poor, but like we weren't rich either. And I just refused to be broke, to just put it plain. So that's why I work so much. And I knew that eventually if I were to be my own entity, my own business, like eventually I'm going to get somewhere to where I'm going to be so successful to the point where I might not even have to work for myself anymore. I might finally get to hire employees. And so I'm doing that so that I can sustain my future. I want to be able to put a plant of my name on this planet somehow. My parents were musicians and I'm a singer too, but like, I don't know in what capacity. I just know God has a plan for me. And I think that this is definitely one of the ways that I'm supposed to be out there putting my stamp on the world. So just the fact that I'm a mixed girl that came from, not so nurturing, upbringing, and just wanting to better myself. And I don't have kids, but like if I were to have children, I want to make sure that, they're okay and things like that. So I guess that's pretty much why I want to make sure that I put a stamp on this world for myself and for my future.
Oh, that's beautiful. I think you have a stamp in some of my pictures with my best hairstyle. So you have put the stamp already in my.
I love that picture so much. I use that in my Instagram a lot.
I'm like, yes, we did such a great job there.
Thank you.
I love your services, and I think I stole you from Christina. She let me borrow you.
I let you borrow.
Yes, she's like, I found the best person. I'm like, well, let me see, because I have Dominican hair, and this hair is really.
And I came over and blew it out.
I was like, oh, it's gonna be a great birthday. Forget everything. I don't need no cake. It was beautiful, but it is. To agree with Christina, you are an experience. When you came to my house, and I felt like a really famous person that day because the way you took care of just really making sure that I was okay. It was a very special day for me. and just everything that you did, you say, like you were very intentional.
Thank you.
And that stays with you. And, when you were talking about your doubts, everybody, I don't know, I cannot do hair, but some people can do hair, but not everybody can do it well, and they cannot do it with a passion. So I know you're driven by money, but you're also driven by your passion. So it's not just money, because people that do stuff for money, you can see it.
Yeah.
Like it's not genuine. It's just like a very transactional, but you are above that, right? So when I hear you talking about your stamp on the world now, it makes sense because you left a stamp on me, right?
Aww.
Like I'm a client, guys. I have reserved spots for next time. So I love that. Working with people for yourself, right? Because a lot of people are in this space right now. I know a lot of women that work in salons and they're like dreaming of having their own thing. And maybe they're thinking the next big thing is a salon. Like they're not thinking of a mobile thing. They're not thinking of, maybe being independent and in salon, right? They're thinking they have to follow this, or in order for them to go independent, they have to have their own big place.
Yeah.
You started in different ways, right? You do mobile work. You actually have your spot too that we go to.
I have a spot that I booth rent.
Yes.
So if people like Christina that come over and they want their color done, or somebody just wants to lean back and be in a bowl for me to wash, then they have that option. But majority of my clients are house calls.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what do you tell those women or men, right? They're in this situation right now. They're about to make that step, and there's something is stopping them, right? They're afraid. They don't know like what is the next best step for them, where they are right now. And you took those steps. So what would you tell someone that's right there scared to death?
Man, I'm still scared. Like you don't know what's like I could, knock on wood, I could lose 3-4 clients tomorrow. Like I don't know, but you just gotta. I tell my best friend this all the time. God is bigger than fear. You just have to step into it no matter what. Like, I think I'm less afraid to do this than I am to actually pursue like a music career. If I'm going to be transparent, I should have done that a long time ago, but, I still favor that part of me in other ways, in other aspects of my life. But I feel a calling to do my beauty business more. I don't know when that switched, but it did. So I would just say to people, like, if you're scared, you just have to. I think another reason why I'm not that afraid is that I was kind of prepared. Like I had been building my mind for a while. Like I'd been putting money away for a while. I didn't really know what that money was going to be for. I'm like, I might buy a new car, or this is going to be for a house. But I wasn't sure. And we for dang sure didn't know that the pandemic was going to happen.
Yeah.
So by the time that had rolled around, I had a pretty nice chunk of change in my bank. And thank the Lord I didn't have to use much or any of it during that time. But after everything was stable and we got back to, I guess, normal, having that was very reassuring for me, so that when I finally did decide to make that step for myself, like if there has been actually a week or two where like maybe I only have 1 or 2 clients for the week, and like, that's it. I mean, it's great. I'm making my own schedule. I can like chill out whenever I want, but also like, I haven't had a client in 4 days. Like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
So, you have to be kind of prepared a little bit. Like, some people, I have a cousin that lives in San Francisco. He told me he left Ohio with like less than $200 in his pocket. Now he's a professional skateboarder. His story is crazy. But for me, it was just helpful for me to be prepared financially. And so I guess working all those jobs and doing all those things and saving money, I'm really good at it. I'm not good at accounting and all that other stuff. But if you ask me about saving and how to budget, like I can help you with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, it was just making sure I had money in the bank so that when times got tough, I had that to fall back on just in case.
And where would you say that drive comes from? Because I know like we've had so many conversations in your chair just about just like our upbringings, and, sometimes you just didn't have a choice but to be able to, be innovative and push forward. Because would you say that you've seen like a lot of what you've learned now as an adult in business or just in life were those things that you learned as a young person, or those things that experiences that you had that kind of helped shape kind of like the woman you are today?
I may have gotten some business stuff subliminally sent to me growing up. I mean, my mom, she was she taught me a little bit about banking and things like that. But she and I never sat down and talked about like, this is how you save and this is how much like, it was never anything like that. My father though, Reggie, he lives in Arizona and he has his own catering business now. It's Blue Bayou Cajun food. It's in Phoenix, and he services Phoenix and Scottsdale and stuff. But I think my drive like came from him, because that dude stayed working my whole entire life. Like, he's worked for Pepsi, he's worked for Coke, he's worked in hospitality his whole life. And it makes sense for him to have his own food truck right now. But he's also working another job too. Mm-hmm. So like, I see me and him a lot.
Yeah.
And we talk about it all the time. I feel like he's still learning himself, but he's been doing it longer. So I will call him and ask him questions and things like that. He'll ask me how to do like social media, because he doesn't know what he's doing on Instagram. And I'll tell him like, you can't use Facebook all the time. It's not cool.
We were just talking about like, do we need a Facebook? And we were like, I mean, maybe, I don't know.
He is always posting. He just posted today. I'm like, you need an Instagram. But anyway, so yeah, I think internally like that drive may have been passed down to me through him. But again, like when we moved from Phoenix to Columbus, we lived in the hood. So like I'm just driven by making sure that I'm not in that position again. And I guess that's where that stems from.
Yeah. And I think it's, like you said, sometimes it's just certain elements of our life or parts of our life where we're like, you know what, I appreciate the lessons that I learned in those moments, because I know we can quickly be like, oh, why does this happen to me? Or why do I have to be? We've talked about this in past episodes, like I appreciate, you can't pick where you come from.
You can't pick the family.
You can't pick the family.
Or the things you go through.
Or the things you go through.
The cards you're dealt, they're dealt.
No, they're dealt. It's just how you play them. And Maylin always used to say to me when I used to get frustrated, she's like, okay, what's the lesson and what's the opportunity? And so I used to be like, when she first did it to me,
she wanted to kill me.
I was like,
so annoying.
I was like, girl, don't be trying to hit me with no positive. Like, I want to be pissed right now. She's like, but just pretend with me, bro. Like, what's the lesson? What's the opportunity? Because even if we're so, like you said, you were living in the hood, and that was like, I don't want to be here no more. And it's weird because we also grew up in project areas, and my dad, growing up, he grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and in Red Hook projects. And when we come to Columbus, he used to buy properties still in neighborhoods that were very similar to what it was like in Brooklyn. And I remember probably about 15-ish years ago, my brother asking him like, Dad, like, why do you still keep buying houses like in, certain areas? And he's like, for me, I never want to leave. Like he said, waking up every single day and still feeling like I have to hustle. He said, I could go live in the suburbs, or I could go live somewhere where I could leave my door unlocked. He said, but in his mind, he felt like he needed to be reminded by still being in certain neighborhoods to get up every day and work 2 and 3 jobs. So it's interesting how some people feel like, oh, I just want something different, or I don't want to be reminded. Trying
to get out of it.
And then you have people like him, which he's not,
He likes to be in it so he can have that motivation.
To him, it's motivation. Every day to wake up to see that struggle. It's for him. It's like, you know what? I have to get up. I got things to do. And so it's just
Is that a healthy way?
I don't know that it's healthy.
I understand it.
It's weird.
Do I want to hear gunshots?
No, I don't.
I don't think
so. But to him,
I respect it, but it's actually mental health.
I know, but that's to him. So it's interesting how people's perceptions
Yeah.
or their takeaways from life experiences could be so vastly different.
From
And also,
motivations.
the hood was not bad.
Yeah, I mean,
It wasn't bad. It's just not. I'm gonna speak for myself. It's just not somewhere where I wanted to stay. But like, I loved growing up next to my cousins and going to play outside and going to the park and being able to walk to the corner store to get candy,
Right.
clown cone all the time.
yep, Northern Lights.
Northern Lights,
Yeah.
like that was like those summers as a kid, as a 9, 10, 11-year-old, like those were the best summers.
Right.
So it wasn't bad. It's just my life would have been different had I had stayed and didn't think bigger, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
If I didn't think bigger for myself, I could have been one of these other people that, you know, maybe have gotten pregnant during high school and now they have a kid that they have to deal with. Kudos to moms that have gone through that. I think that is a blessing that you have gone through that. For me, I saw that wasn't something I wanted to do. And there were so many of that situations going on when even in middle school, moving into high school. So I didn't graduate high school like with the best grades either. But I think that I did enough so that I can get out and like see what else is out there and see what the world had to offer for me. And also, I'm 33 now. I didn't like get into this mindset of wanting more for myself until I was probably like 26. Like from the time I graduated high school to about 25, 26 years old, I was like out here just kicking it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great years.
You said it was great years.
I mean,
So what was the pivot? What happened? Did something happen? Or what was it that kicked that mindset shift?
My stepdad passed in 2013. He was the man that raised me. And he was from Columbus. So that's how we moved here. My mom was raised in Pennsylvania. And so it made sense for her to move here because Pennsylvania is to a state over. So when he passed, I initially was just like, my biological father and I didn't have a great relationship at the time. And I feel at the time I was like, life is so short. I don't want anything to happen to Reggie and we don't figure us out as father and daughter, and I'm his only kid. So I went out there with that notion to try and repair and figure that out. That was a journey, and that was when I went to hair school. So that was the pivotal moment. I was also in a really bad relationship at the time. I had no business being in, and I saw that pretty quick. And I remember being told that my dad had passed. And then the next day I remember waking up and just looking around like where I was and what I was doing, which wasn't nothing. Like I wasn't doing anything with my life. I was working at Ann Taylor, catching the bus everywhere. I still was like, I didn't care to have more for myself. But that next day, after I went and saw him in the hospital, I just was like, I'm done. Like, I was done. I called Reggie. I was like, I'm coming to Phoenix. And I left. And I was there for 3 years, and I went to hair school and all that. And then I came back.
and was he open to build a relationship? Because sometimes, you want to mend the relationship and, the fathers are not there yet.
Yeah, it was a journey. I will say that. But we are great now. We talk probably 3-4 times a week. And I feel like father and daughter is a situation. Man and woman is a situation. Generational differences is a situation. But right now, what's kind of bonding us is the fact that his father is going through dementia right now. And my mother is, she has Huntington's disease, which is, I guess, similar to Parkinson's. If people don't know what that is, very, very rare. disease Huntington's is. So having dealing with that, and then me dealing with this, and not just me, like I have 2 younger brothers by my mom and my stepdad. So us kids dealing with that, and then he's dealing with that. Like we kind of talk a little bit about that, and I feel like, unfortunately, that's the circumstance that I feel like has gotten us a little bit closer as father and daughter. And I'm very blessed, even if it is like a bad situation, because God is good, and it could be worse. I could have no parents at all. So I'm just grateful for that, even if it is like not the best situation to be like close in, but that's just what I guess made us better together, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And you mentioned it's a journey, right? So I see when you went there, and some people are in that space right now where they're having a hard relationship with their parent, right? And part of them wants to amend it, part of them is like, F them. I don't want to do something, right? But I think one point that I'm taking out of your conversation is having the patience, right? Because you said it's a journey. You said it a couple of times, which really tells me that you have to have the patience to really get to know this person almost brand new, right? Like put it to the side, whatever happened in the past, and how do you build this from now? So if people are in this situation right now, understand that it's not going to change overnight. These people are not going to embrace you sometimes overnight. You may not embrace them overnight, but if you really want this to be the decision that you made to make it better, then it's going to be a journey. So have patience with the process.
I definitely think patience in any relationship is like a key to making a relationship work, whether it's romantic, family, friends, or coworkers. If you don't have that or a little bit of it, it's going to make the situation that much more harder. But I would say that he had to have patience with me, because I'm very hard. I'm my father's daughter to a T. I'm very impatient. I'm hard-headed. I don't listen all the time. I always go with my emotion before I go with my head sometime. But I'm growing and I'm learning, and over the last year or two, he and I have had discussions about what happened with me as a baby and how it became what it was up until now, and why things happened and the way that it did, because I didn't understand. I not to like go way into it, but I just didn't understand, like, why wasn't I raised in Phoenix, Arizona with my dad and things like that. And so I found out a lot, and we talked about it, and things are better between us. So he's a good man for not like pointing fingers and doing all the things like co-parents would do to each other, to the kid. Tell your dad I said this, tell your mom I said. It was none of that from him ever.
Thank God.
Can't say that about the latter, but that's just what it was.
Yeah.
So,
well, it definitely sounds like, I mean, it like you said, it's something that is a process. And I think that some of the things you've mentioned, just being able to like heal from whatever it is. And really, I think earlier you mentioned being able to like seek out mental health and seek out services and start to kind of surround yourself with people that are going to also help you in this journey of processing, figuring out who you are. What are the parameters that you are now also identifying as what's healthy, what's not healthy? Who do I want to associate my time with? Who am I just going to make the conscientious decision to say this relationship is no longer fruitful, or it's not going to serve me. It's not going to work for me. Because I think oftentimes, we find ourselves in similar relationships or similar situations reoccurring, and it's like, okay, all these people can't be wrong about me or this person. And it's like, how often are we just looking at ourselves like, am I going into this relationship hurt because I have issues with my dad, or am I going into business worried about this person doing me wrong because the last person did me wrong? And so I think there's power in understanding your journey, understanding the things that may trigger you to feel or think a certain type of way, and to be okay with just taking your time and setting up these new parameters of your life. Like you said, you know, you're in your 30s. All the stuff we went through didn't happen overnight, and it sure the hell is not going to be fixed.
Ain't gonna be fixed overnight
either.
It takes time.
Yeah, so have grace with yourself, and as we, you know,
and seek support.
Yeah, seek support, not just like your aunts and your cousins and your
not
mom.
that support,
because sometimes people can only give you what they can, and, you know, and so that's also a thing. I mean, I love my mother, I love my siblings. And, you know, but there's times where I have to seek advice from outside those circles, because it's like you can't really fully speak on things that you have not experienced.
They're biased.
Yeah.
You can't. I will ask my brother. Corey is more level-headed, but I'll ask him certain things at certain times. I won't always talk to him about everything because he's my brother too. And so he will be the first to be like, well, you don't need to be doing da-da-da. Like, you know what I mean? Like protective type.
Yeah.
So I do see a therapist, and I have my inner circle of people that I've known for 20 years as well. So I just make sure that, like you said, also like boundaries, learning how to put those up and when to put them up. It's just better that way for yourself, for your mental health, which at least my group is really, really like about that. So but it also took me a long time to do that. I feel like I became a great hairstylist and makeup artist because I cared so much, like, about making sure that everybody is happy with who they are, like what I do for them. And I think that may have been like insecurity. Am I doing it right? Like, do they like my work? Well, now I know that people like my work. So now I have to make sure that the boundary is set, even with my clients. Sometimes, like, I just implemented this to myself. Like, I got to stop texting people and taking text messages after like 5:30. Like, I just got to stop. And I have people that will just text me like 8, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night talking about some hair. And I'm watching like Gilmore Girls. Like, I can't even think about this right now, girl. So yeah. I would say boundaries for sure. Still learning them, but it didn't happen overnight. That's for sure.
You have an auto message that goes out. Like, I type messages, so when people call me and I'm in a meeting, I have a thing that I can hit that says, I will call you back. Sorry, I'm in a meeting. So when people text you after 5:30, you should have just a copy and paste. Like, thank you so much for reaching out. Reach out to you tomorrow at 9 o'clock. That's it. So you don't have to like type it every time. Just like.
So the first time she sends that to me, I'm gonna be like, wow.
Yeah, and then you'll be like, well, she's implementing what she learned at your brain.
I'm not available right now. I'll be like, Coco, you can do that for everybody else.
Not for me, Coco. We told you that.
Christina, not me. Wow.
You get that. You're gonna put like the eye emojis. She'll be like the big eyes.
Oh my God.
And I hate when I teach people stuff and then I'm like, wow.
They use it on me. Oh no, she tells me so much. I'll be like, yeah.
For real though.
For real. It's so funny because I used to tell her, like, we balance each other in such, we're like the perfect cup of coffee. Like, we are the perfect cup of coffee. Like, you know how you just got to have the right ingredients.
She's chill. Christina's chill. You are bouncing off the wall.
It's the energy I need in my life. Because I'm so like, and then I'm always like, come sit down. Like, no. Because she was always so like, I got to help this person. I'm taking this person's mom to chemo. I'm like, why? I mean, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful.
No, but
she's running herself ragged, going to drop this stuff at the food pantry, taking some random person, I mean, she barely knows, mom to chemo because she didn't have nobody else to sit with her, which I thought was such a sweet thing. I said, God, you're going to heaven and you're going in the express.
I already got ticket, guys.
Your wings are up there waiting.
They got
a seat. 60 more years, though.
It's, I mean, no doubt in my mind. But I was just like, girl, what are you, like, you can't be out here running around. And then she was getting home late. She had one meal, barely 4 cups of coffee. And I was like, you got to stop, like, overexhausting yourself. Because, you know, and so she used to ask me questions, like, different situations where she's like, well, what happened? I was like, I didn't ask. And she's like,
what?
Why you didn't ask? I was like, because I don't want to get involved. And she's like,
none of my business.
And so then past couple years, now I'm like, so what happened? She's like, I didn't ask. And I was like, Wow.
Growth. That's growth and
I mean,
boundaries.
you can't be running around because you can't give what you don't have. And then when you got to show up for your own family or your own kids or your own business, you all over the place.
Tired, snappy.
Don't have the energy. And I'm like, and so I
learned from her some things. I've
learned from her because I'm a lot more like, okay, help. Maybe I can help. Not just from this place of like, I can't, but if I can fit it, I will. But I'm not going to inconvenience or go too far out because I have so many kids.
And we already serve a lot. So I think
serve all day long.
Yeah, when you are a person and you're working and you are servicing people, service people, round of applause, because it is rough. I feel people's energy. What's the word?
Empath.
I'm an empath. So I mean, I have to have those boundaries. I can walk into somebody's house with like 3-4 kids running around, bouncing off the walls. And then I go into somebody that's more serene and like, I have to shake those kinds of things off. So, that
energy is real.
It is.
And I'm selective now. Like, I think before COVID, even before, like, I think I was pretty, gifting with my energy. And I think after COVID, some of the things that I learned, right, because of my own hard things I had to go through is like, wait, I have to put me, right? And I can't give this energy to everybody. Like, so I have learned that even though I can respect and celebrate a lot of people, I don't rock with a lot of people because energy does attach. And I'm a person that absorbs it. So I'm very, very, I'm not an empath per se. Yes, but I am very like particular. I put boundaries now.
Yeah.
Like I don't meet with everybody. I don't do the things I used to do. And it's not because I don't love people. I love people. But I was finding myself carrying a lot. And I can't do that because, we have an organization to run that we already carry so much.
Yep.
Because those parents and those girls, like they can text us at any time if there's an emergency and we have to respond. So, we already carry a lot and I have to tell myself, like, you're already doing enough. Like you are already with the work that we're doing.
You can't do it for them if you don't do it for you.
Exactly. Right. And I'm here telling you how to set boundaries and I have no boundaries. And I was like, wait a minute, So now I love it. I don't have to be at 10 events in a day. I don't have to be in 20 service projects. I think our organization itself is a 24-hour service project. So, so that has helped me a lot. So, and I think we learn from each other. Which is why we love this podcast, because we learn so much from other people that we bring in. Like, I learned a whole lot about you that I didn't know before this podcast.
Yes.
I'm like, wow.
I'm low-key private a little bit. I think I feel like I get energy from people, which is why you and I talk a lot. But there's very few clients that I actually like really tell my story to. Well, now everybody knows now, but which is fine. But I feel like it'll help somebody. But I don't necessarily always feel like you're giving your business or your time or whatever to people. Sometimes that energy isn't reciprocated or it will give back to you in a negative way. You don't know the saying, you don't let everybody pray over you type of situation.
Yeah.
You just don't know. And not to you. I'm just talking about
People's
like in general.
intentions.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
agree. I think that's why we've gotten to a point where people are like, I don't know, what are you up to? I don't know. I'm like, I move in silence. Like, it's really power in being able to just work behind the scenes, post just what you have to post, announce what you have to announce. Because I do believe that there are people who are just like waiting for something to go wrong.
They're in the shadows,
and
ready
it's like,
to pounce.
I don't need that kind of attention. Like, I'm a very low key person, even though I live kind of a public life in certain entities.
Now more than before.
Yeah, but if I don't have to, I don't. If I don't have to do an interview, I won't, because it's just for what? Like, and I think once you are not in a place of leading from your ego, you're cool with just doing what you got to do. It's not about ego for me. It's not about titles. It's not about an award and a recognition. God willing, I'm able to serve in ways that I know that's what I'm supposed to do. Whether you acknowledge it, whether you know about it, I'm okay either way.
Yeah.
And that's just a piece that I think when you're thinking about wanting to start a business or lead a company or start a family, you have to sit with your true, authentic, raw self and say, really, who am I and why do I do the things that I do? And it can't be just for money, or it can't be just for ego, or it can't be, because being in that kind of a hamster wheel is also a poison. And it's also will exhaust you in a way that it's like, I'm constantly out here chasing, but what am I chasing? What am I looking for?
Goal?
What is the goal?
What's the end goal?
What's the end goal? Because, there's millionaires, billionaires who are committing suicide, who are not happy.
What's the name just did?
Yeah.
Who did?
Well,
the comedian?
No, there was a guy that jumped from like 3-4 stories because the stock market crashed. It just happened. I can't recall.
No, I didn't hear about that.
But anyway, yeah.
So it's just, we have to get to a place, because some people, I think they equate so much of like, man, if I just have money, I would be happy, or I would feel fulfilled. And money is a tool. Money gives you access. Now, I'm not saying I don't want money. I want money.
I want money.
Yeah. But it's not going to,
it is, but it's not the drive.
Yeah,
it's a part of the drive, but it's not the drive.
No.
And it should not be your identity.
No, time is for me. If I can chill tomorrow and I choose to do that,
girl,
that's a choice.
That is where I'm at. Like, my sister and I talk about this all the time. Like, I don't work on a weekend if I don't want to. I just feel like weekends are like your days of rest, unless I'm doing like a wedding early in the morning, 3-4 hours of my time, boom, bow, I'm done. Great. But we're not put on this earth to work like
all day.
No, that's not what life is about.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to be able to do something I'm passionate in, which is the beauty industry. I love making people pretty. I love talking to people. But I'm not in it to work myself like you said, I'm not a hamster on a wheel. Like, I'm not doing this. I'm not in a factory.
Yeah.
That's not what life is about. I'm working so that I can have experiences too. Like, yeah, it's great to have money, but then once you get it, what are you about to do with it?
Yeah.
Right.
Like, there's some people that have never left Ohio.
That's so sad.
Yeah.
To me.
I want to travel. Like, these are things that I want to do. Heaven forbid I get the gene for Huntington's or dementia, but I want to be able to go do that's one of the things that drives me too.
Yeah.
If for some reason that is something that is in my cards, like, I want to be able to say, well, at least I did X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Those are. That's not something I've said out loud. But yeah, that is definitely probably the reason why I do what I do.
I love that. I feel like we could talk to you all day. We're going to have to bring you back, because I know there's so much more that I think we could easily dive into. And as you're growing and learning in your business, I think it would be dope to have you back just to kind of share additional updates, tips.
Yeah.
Tricks
I mean,
that
I'm
you're
sure a lot's going
learning.
to happen in a year. Like, you never know.
And you're stuck with me forever. So, I'm like,
We see each other in a couple weeks.
Yeah, actually, I'm getting a different hair color.
Are
Stay
you?
tuned, guys.
Don't let her cut her hair.
No, I already cut it.
No,
She cut it. The
I
last
just
time.
did a little bit.
Yeah.
We didn't do a lot.
Wanted to do something crazy.
I did. I showed her the bob, and
I
she
was
was
like,
like,
Thank you so much. My mother will thank you.
So,
Mommy
but
don't like
I'm getting my
haircut.
fall hair ready.
Are you?
It's gonna be
I
cute.
love this.
You'll see it.
You have like a whole year hair with me, guys.
Yeah. Well, Coco, thank you so much for
Thanks
being
for
here
having
today.
me. I
really
appreciate
appreciate it. Where
So
can
much
people
fun.
find you?
Okay, so I have Instagram. I'm Femme By Coco on Instagram. That's pretty much it.
Okay. So IG. And we'll put your name in the description too, so people can find your Instagram, learn more about Coco if you need services, obviously.
I also have an email if people still email. Hi, it's HIFEM, FEMM beauty @outlook.com.
Okay.
Perfect.
Awesome.
So for those of you that still use email, you got it.
I'm an email person.
Oh, I email
No,
all day.
we have email. We have so many emails.
Per your last email.
Oh no! When people send me emails like that, I'm like, "Wow, you chose violence today." Don't hurry. I'm so grateful I'm not in corporate America anymore. I really am just like, yeah,
And then you have grown also.
absolutely. Yes, solid growth.
Tina.
Yeah, Tina.
Oh,
You always know like what season of my life I met you in. If you call me Tina, I'm like, you're a childhood friend or family. And
Yeah.
if it's Christina, then yes, welcome. Welcome to the new 20
to the-
polished.
Welcome to my
Elevated.
channel.
Yeah, exactly.
elevated experience.
Yes, exactly. Well, thank you, Coco, for
Thanks
being
for having
here.
me. I so appreciate it. I had so much fun.
Yes,
And we always
thank
like to end each one of our episodes. You remember what it is?
The phrase, it's bigger than you.
Do you remember? So we're going to do it together. It's bigger than you.
Thank you so much for listening today. We're excited and we hope that you follow us on
Instagram, True Print for Life, YouTube channel, also True Print for Life. And make sure that you share, like, watch our videos. Make sure that you follow us on all streaming platforms.